And continued his California trip today with a stop in the San Diego area, talking about his plans for the border wall.
But he also had a lot to say about the homeless crisis right here in Los Angeles. KCAL9's Sarah Donchi joining us now with what the president wants to see done. Sarah?
A lot of headlines coming out of this trip, I have to say. Juan and Sharon, the president had a lot to say about our state and about one of his signature campaign promises to build the wall. He says he still considers the situation at our border to be a national emergency and thanked Mexico for its cooperation.
Today, President Trump touted construction of the border wall in Otay Mesa and gave the media an up-close look at the project.
It really is virtually impenetrable. Any walls that were put up would get knocked down very quickly, very easily. This wall is not something that can be really knocked down.
Customs and Border Patrol officials, members of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and Acting Secretary of Homeland Security Kevin McAleenan joined the president for the visit. They showcased the newly replaced wall made of steel, concrete, and rebar. President Trump also noted technological advancements along the border, though Border Patrol officials hesitated to go into detail.
They're wired so that we will know if somebody's trying to break through, and you may want to discuss that a little bit, General.
Sir, there could be some merit in not discussing that.
Okay? I like that. That was a great answer. I'll just tell you they're wired, okay? They're wired. It's technologically very advanced.
Officials also lent the president their support.
There's a false narrative out there that this wall is the president's vanity wall. I'm here to tell you right now that's false.
President Trump said his administration plans to build more than 400 miles of wall by the end of next year. He also said that different prototypes were built and tested by professional climbers. Officials ultimately settled on this design.
And this was the one that was hardest to climb. And we've all seen the pictures of young people climbing walls with drugs on their back. A lot of drugs. I mean, they're unbelievable climbers. This wall can't be climbed. This is very, very hard.
The president was also asked to sign a section of the border wall.
Anyone who works on the wall signs the wall for us.
Sign it.
Would you do
I'll
that
sign
for us
it.
today?
Let's go.
Today's appearance at the border was part of a two-day trip to California. And once again, the president did not mince words about the issue of homelessness in the state and in the city of L.A.
In the case of Los Angeles, it's a disaster. In the case of, if you look at San Francisco, it's a total disaster what's happening, where they're going to ruin those cities. And we're going to get involved very soon on a federal basis if they don't clean up their act. One of the things we're very upset about and angry about is we're paying a lot of money to Los Angeles to build the subway system, billions and billions of dollars, and yet you have tents all over the place, and you really have a sanitary condition because this water is rushing into the ocean, and this is supposed to be stormwater.
It's not the first time President Trump has called attention to the issue, and today he pointed the finger at Democrats.
If these Democrat liberal politicians don't straighten it out, the federal government will have to come in. We're not going to lose cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and others that are great cities. We're not going to allow that to happen to our cities.
Yesterday, Mayor Eric Garcetti released a video of himself at a newly constructed homeless shelter in South LA and had this message directed to President Trump.
It's no secret that I've disagreed with you on almost everything, Mr. President, but if you are in your heart willing to save lives alongside us, we know what works here.
In fact, the president even said that the EPA would be putting out a notice to the city of San Francisco for violations stemming from its homeless population. He did not say when his administration would be taking action regarding homelessness there or here in LA, just that it would be soon. Also, as part of his media availability today, President Trump announced a new national security advisor. He has named Robert C. O'Brien to the post after John Bolton's departure. Sharon and Juan, back to you.
All right, Sarah, thank you.